Thanks for staying with us. So it's the festive season, and many families are just in that let loose mode and having fun, going to parties. Some of these activities surround dressing up our kids, making them look pretty, and having photo shoots and going for events. But how far is too far? Because we saw a video recently of a little girl. Was a graduation ceremony, and she was dolled up. You know, she had on lashes, she had on nails, colors, had on makeup. And you're thinking to yourself, it's a festive season. Yes, we know lots of parents would like to let loose, but how far should we go in decorating our children, the boys and the girls? What do you think is okay for a parent to do, and what do you think is not okay, especially when you see that many people come up with these lovely concepts. You know, they come, want to do a photo shoot for a girl, for a little baby girl, and the photographer is coming up with all sort of nice, let's do some hair, put some makeup here. And then when my child wanted to do a 10th birthday this year, the makeup art, the photographer said, let's put some powder. I said, no. Let's do this. I said, no. She's 10 years old. And he goes, hey, let's add a few things. I said, oh, but when he now finished the photographer, because I didn't allow him to do anything. When he now finished, he now did that thing, he did the brushing. That Photoshop to make her look so airbrushing, to clean her up so much. Like, sir,
this is not my daughter.
Back to normal. This is not my child. This is somebody else, you know? But there's that pressure, societal pressure, to let your child look in a certain way. Do you think parents are taking it too far? Do you think we should let some happen? You know, let's allow it. What do you think? Let me start with you, BC.
So, I'm beginning to realize that people have different ideas on how to raise their children. And I try not to be very judgmental if it doesn't sit well with my own values. You know, just try and understand it from your own perspective. But in everything, there's something I always say, let it be moderate, modesty. Let it be within the confines of a bit normal. Just try what you can, you know, and that modesty can be subjected to different interpretations. Yeah. But however you satisfy your conscience that I'm not pushing my children out into the world so fast, that's okay for you, as long as you're comfortable with it. Because I've seen children who have been raised to do whatever they like and all that, and the other children that have been, you know, stifled, sort of, you don't allow them do this and do that. I've seen them turn out, and I've seen those ones that we think will turn out bad actually have good morals, actually have a better way to relate with people, actually understand. So they are usually, like when I went into the university, we had children who were allowed to have parties, you know, do this, do that. They have had it with their parents. It wasn't strange to them when they got into the university. They knew their boundaries. But people like us that were caged, so to speak, we got there and we're like, wow!
Free at last.
So I can
Thank God Almighty. I am free at last.
I can sleep out. Nobody's going to ask me.
Imagine
that. It took the grace of God to bring me back. And I told myself that I was not going to raise my children not to experience some things. I will guide them so that we experience it wholly to the best of my ability.
Okay, let me.
So let me tell you what I do. Sorry. My kids like to, for makeup, I said, no, till you're out of secondary school. I won't allow that. For birthdays, anything, they will not wear anything on their face. Just use your gloss. We have gloss we use together, and that's it. But during the holidays, we paint our nails. No artificials. We just paint our nails when we're traveling. You know, for me, it's a bonding time. So I paint theirs, they paint mine, or we go to the salon, we do it together. And we are all acting. We are girls now, and all that. I just do it my way. And I feel, okay, it's my way.
I used to get spanked for that as a child, you know, when I tried, and I'll come back to that because things have evolved. So how do we know how far we should go? So you've done that. If I did it as a kid, I would be in serious trouble. I've given you the story where I did braids all the way to my butt, and I was feeling fly. My auntie, Ms. Adeshoko, just, are you okay? So how far can we go?
So
want to
go? For me, I think that everyone would, based on their exposure, create the boundaries for their children that based on what they know, you know. But platforms like this help us to give more information to all parents out there without judging anybody for what they've done in the past, but letting them understand the impacts going forward. We are not allowing our children be children. Children should be children. Carefree, play, have fun. They are going to deal with the pressures of all this makeup later. but let them just be children. One, as adults, many adults are struggling with identity. They call it the identity crisis, body dysphoria or something. Like they don't understand dysmorphia. And people feel like this is not my real face, or this is my real face. I like my face more when I do A, B, C, D, because that's how they see other people's faces look. When you are a child is where you know yourself and you fall in love with yourself. So it's important that we let children see their own natural beauty as beautiful. Yes. Not that a child is 6 years old and you're already making her feel like if she doesn't have makeup, she's not pretty, or she starts getting compliments for wearing makeup as a young child. Fantastic. You know, so I loved makeup growing up already, but I am grateful to God that my parents sort of compelled me not to. The biggest punishment my mom could give me was to cut my hair. Like, you can beat me till tomorrow, but you cut my hair, you have deflated every sense of fashion and style that I had, because my hair was like my crowning glory. Aww. So I think that for parents, it is important. The reason we're saying don't expose too much makeup to children is they would see makeup tire. Do you see how a lot of our teenagers now and people in their 20s are doing body surgeries that are making permanent changes to themselves? These things stem from our desire to fit in to what people see as beautiful. Let us begin to see, let us raise our children to see themselves as beautiful.
Let me let Mariam go first.
So anytime we talk about this topic, I always remember growing up and my mom had this magic lipstick. I don't know if you guys remember it. It was green, and then when you put it on your lip, it would turn red. And I will hide to put it. And every time she catches me, she'll ask me to take that pumice stone, that stone that you use to scrub my lips. Jesus. Because she has warned me not to do it, to scrub my lips. So it's like a reminder that you shouldn't. And she used to always tell me, and my mom would sit down and be like, oh, I cannot wait for when you get into your 20s. You're going to do this, going to do this. I can't wait for when you get into your 30s. So it was something to look forward to. It was not like you should not do it ever at all, but wait for the time. So that encourages me. I love what you said about letting children be children. We're influenced a lot by social media. So we watch people who are doing like they're putting on social media their photo shoots. Or we're watching children of entertainers. You know, they dress their children up a certain way. Or we're watching entertainers themselves. We forget that it's a business for them. It's a craft. It's an image that they're trying to, you know, project to sell their business. And then we carry it and then we put it on our own children, everyday children. I think we should allow children run around, you know, without shirts and just be excited about who they are and love who they are. You see all these filters? We, even us as adults, we now struggle with it, that when you see your own natural face, you're like, oh, who is that? Because we're used to, the phone had, you know, filtered everything, taking away blemishes and wrinkles, and you're wondering who this person is. And if we as adults are struggling with that, imagine what you're doing to a child who has learned that you should add and add on top of what you have before you can be seen as beautiful. I think children should be allowed to be children. I think that and in allowing them is to teach them the value of their natural beauty. When I have like young staff members, girls, when they do just their cornrows, right? You see that 20-something-year-old girl, beautiful, natural beauty shining through, fresh face. I'm like, how do you see this person and think that wearing this wig that I am wearing with, you know, it just ages you by 10, 20 years. See, you would never be 21 again. You would never be 22. Enjoy it. You would look back many years later and you appreciate the fact that you enjoyed your natural beauty before you needed all the add-ons to look better.
So, based on what Tokwe said earlier, I think the opposite happened to me. I've been doing photo shoots since I was a baby. My first birthday, my mother would show me, even my 5th birthday. So makeup, she put gloss on my lips. She really dulled me because I was her only girl. I came 12 years after her last child. And that time she had money. At least before, she was still depending on my dad. When I came, my mother had money. So she was spoiling me like a doll. I had frocks on. I had 8-year-old birthday shoot, 9-year-old birthday shoot. I had a photo shoot. I go, you know. And there was so much on me as a child that when I grew up, I hated fashion. I just didn't want to. I didn't want to dress up.
Yeah.
It was just, I didn't want to dress up. I didn't like makeup.
Only memory was.
Because the only memory I had, and I never knew. So it can be counterproductive, where when you doll up a child so much and you make her feel like you have to look this way, you have to look this way. After a while, a child like when I had my free at last moment, I'm in the US. I mean, that free at last. Yes.
You were tomboyish
I was tomboy to the core.
Yes.
I didn't want to do any hair. I didn't want to. Nobody should touch me. I'm fine. You know. So it could be counterproductive.
Yes, it is usually counterproductive. So let me tell you what happened in secondary school. You know, some of us bloomed very late. Secondary school, I had nothing, no front, no back, nothing. I was langa. In fact, my nickname in school was I. That's what they called me. Yes. I was dark, nothing. Like, I didn't even have any toaster. You know, Valentine's, when secondary school students would be getting cards and cakes and all that, nobody even looked in my direction. Yes. And I was sort of in that space, no makeup, nothing. My father would not allow it. So, those girls were already used to doing makeup, and so I see them, I admire them. Everybody is drooling after them, and I'll be feeling bad for myself. But I was a tomboy. I'll play my thing and go. When we finished secondary school,
And babe showed up.
and we met, I saw most of those students, they were already looking old and fagged out. By the time we got to the university, I'm telling you, it was worse. You would see them looking very scruffy on campus, just where they were just... And that was when I was getting into my prime. That was when I was exploring makeup. I was blooming. The difference was just so much. So I used to advise... I have a 13-year-old who wants to do all of those things. I used to tell her, I said, don't be in a hurry. You will have enough time to do this. And when you do it, you will do it well, because now you have better things to play with. If you are stealing my things to do this, it's not necessary. So Shikuku knows that she's not allowed to wear makeup in my house, no matter how tall she becomes tomorrow, till she leaves secondary school. Just my way of preserving that innocence. She already has a big body. So if you see the face with makeup again, it will be worse for her. Yeah. So let them see your face and see that you are a baby, even with your big body. So it's actually counterproductive. And what I advise people is, try to let your children know there's time for everything. That's the conversation that I have. Sometimes they will come up with different things they want to do.
People use excuses like it's a festive season, it's just, you know, during the school days, we don't let them do normal hair. But it's holidays, you know, let us just relax. Don't you think,
but
should we find, how do you then
find the balance?
find the balance,
and you know, one thing is that, especially for me, that I grew up in Jos, and I know the conservativeness of there, and then being here in Lagos and realize, and there are different cultures, but people do things here that's different from there. And it's not like they're bad people. It's just different exposure, different culture, different things that they see. So here, you may take a colored attachment for your daughter, and then you go somewhere else and they're looking at like, how dare you? Can you imagine what she put on her hair? So there's also that we're constantly battling with. So as a mother, you would have to make sure that you concentrate on what is healthy for your child. So it's not about the way she looks, it's also about the confidence you want to build in her. And I believe strongly that the base for a child's confidence, especially about her look, should be about teaching her to accept her personal and her natural beauty. Oh, you're beautifully dark skinned. I love the way it glows like, you know, black pearls. I love your smile. I love your white teeth. I love the, you know, there's something that our children are also struggling with. A lot of our children are watching cartoons, and they're like, my hair.
So silky,
yes, my hair is different. So we have to also encourage that.
To love their hair.
Yes, to love their hair. So I feel that as long as you're encouraging them, then I tell them, mommy needs help now. Mommy's not young and fresh-faced like you, so mommy needs help, you know. And when you get to that age, you know, you can also...
So one of these things is a sign of wealth. I see a lot of celebrities who are rich, they have the money. It's a sign of, listen, I suffered. When I was growing up, I was langa. I was one. I don't want to be like that. I want my children to feel like, listen, we have something. And I want them to feel confident because they are not Nigerian children. This girl was born in America. I'm raising her in Nigeria, but very soon she's going to go meet her counterparts in America, where they wear their hair. Normally, they blow it out. They wear makeup, you know. So I don't want her to have that Nigerian mentality of, okay, no makeup. Because her counterparts living in the US or the UK, wherever, they use makeup and they have that freedom. So that's the child I'm raising. I'm not raising her for the Nigerian society. I'm raising her for the abroad society. There are parents like that. No,
and some people have children who have done a few years academically in other countries where it's totally different. I had a friend whose kids were in New York, and when we go and pick up the kids from school, you'll be wondering, what school are we in again?
Wow.
Guys are weaving their hair. I'm
Yeah.
talking 9-year-olds weaving their hair, dyeing their hair. That was the norm.
Yeah.
It was queens.
Yeah.
And the school there, you can weave your hair as a guy.
Yeah.
And it's normal.
Yeah.
You can dye your hair.
And do your
it's
hair,
normal.
nails,
colors, everything normal for a 9-year-old. And here is my African mother syndrome, trying to understand, as in the girl struggled, because she had parents who didn't want her to look like them. So she was there and feeling like, I'm weird.
Yeah.
Everybody else is wearing colored hair and looking all glam, and I'm just looking plain. So I think it's important that we also, and we also help them in that circumstance. I am already ready to know that my kids might weave their hair because they like it so much. And I have boys. And I know that if my boys weave their hair, it doesn't mean they are evil people, because in some parts of the world, weaving hair as a man is a norm. So there are some areas of our identity that we can relax on.
So that's
and
where,
there's some areas.
so
So it's to find, it's for us to find that. What can you give?
The conversation. So I'm going to go on a break. When I want us to remember that there's the African mentality we have, which we have. But these children who we're birthing, they are being birthed into a new world that see things differently. So what you makeup is for you is like a big deal. But abroad, it's like, it doesn't take away from who they are. But they say, it's who you are. You know how these Americans talk? It's your person, who you are in your heart. How do you feel your heart? You know, be your authentic self. You know, they come with all this phrasing. You're thinking, the child is not confused that, my mother said I shouldn't wear this thing. So we're still discussing this matter of parenting and the fact that our culture, belief system will clash with modernity, whether we like it or not. As we're giving birth to children, many of us, I can say, a good chunk of middle-class families are raising their kids, hopefully one day move to other countries to further their education. And when they do that, that rigidity, I would say, of our own culture may clash with the liberal lifestyle abroad. But how, therefore, as Africans, as we raise our kids into this new world, how do we balance the cultures? How do we ensure that what we're raising our kids with doesn't retains or is sustained through their lives?
So I think we should not raise our kids the way our parents raised us, where they just make the laws and insist, and you must follow or you will disown you and all that. It doesn't work anymore. It hasn't worked for us as adults. Sometimes we fail, and then we just had to somehow, by the grace of God, find our way back. It's not working now. These children are upgraded children. They come factory fitted already, fit into the world. They are not, even science has even proven that if you check the DNAs, they are different. We're birthing the new generation, and they thrive on logic and conversation. So before you make all those laws, don't weave your hair, yeah, boy, don't do this. Find out what they want. Find out the conversations they've heard from school. Find out how it makes them feel. Now, logically present it to them how you want it to be, following the timelines that you give them, and give them things to look forward to. It must be a logical conversation. You will hear kids saying, I want to color my hair wine, or I want to color my hair gold. And you say, don't. And they're just waiting for you. Maybe when I leave your house, I'll go and do my own thing. We want to know our children. Most of our parents, hold on, they didn't know also.
Wait. Some people will choose to be the one to introduce to their child first. Before any friend tells you outside what color. I would define to you that coloring your hair, for example, means that you're a mad person. Wearing baggy jeans, you know, I'm just telling you what parents are doing. That let me, at the age of 4, 5, I'm already making that definition. So in your head, your mindset is already in a certain way. So your friend in school cannot tell you at the age of 10 that, oh, coloring is good, because I already told you in the house.
You've told me in the house, yes. But do you know if I admire it? You have told me, you have said your own, but
okay,
do you
so
know
if
what
you
goes on in
admire
my
it,
head?
what then?
No, so if that child admires it, that's when you now have. But first of all, you need to find out if they admire. There are some kids you have a conversation with, and
but we are molding these children. We are molding now.
You are molding not in isolation. Don't you have conversations with your children?
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say. So in that conversation, find out where their mind is. There are sometimes you have conversations with your children and they are not even reasoning in that space.
Wait, Tabula Rasa says we are the ones feeding them. Which where would they? But where would they get that mind from?
Mariah,
I'm trying to
what I understand is, yes, we should have conversations, but it's still not a guarantee that your child will do exactly what you say.
Yeah.
So even parenting where it is a lot more liberal, you are sitting, we're having conversations, you're actually saying that you're giving that child the right to say to you, you know what, Mommy, I've heard you, but I think I want to do it my way. I'm just saying.
That's not what I'm saying.
Okay, no,
So
okay,
you are
I'm just
that
saying
conversation
that.
to understand where the child's mind is.
And I'm saying, which
And then the
mind
child-
you are in?
No.
Are you not the child?
I'm saying this sort of parenting where we talk with our children, we also leave room for our children to tell us their thoughts.
How they feel,
and what they want to do and how they want to do it. But there are no guarantees, however, especially when it comes to things like that, because we're influenced by many things. I always say here, I have children with 2 different personalities. I have a child that would rather make their mistakes. That is the child that I have, and that's the child I'm trying to raise. And so what I'm doing is, as much as possible, while I still have that control fully, I'm laying down the basic rules.
Ground rules.
So whenever you decide that, okay, now I'm old enough to go and do my thing, you're going off from here, from where this foundation that I have laid. You're not just going off from everything that's happening. And I just hope that what I'm laying right now will be able to hold you back and pull you back.
I like that.
That's
So if you
where-
color your hair blue, it's not because of peer pressure. It's because, Mommy, I actually like blue. And I want to look. So it's from the baseline, you have confidence in yourself. I want my hair blue because
That's
I
what
just
we're
like
saying.
the
But
color
if
blue.
Can we
you
go
first
back
of all
to-
find out where that child's mind is. Don't
Let me go on a
assume
break.
that because you are Mommy Gio,
Let me take
your
this
children
call.
will follow you in that line. Don't
Okay, let me
assume.
take this call. I'll come to you, Tokwe. Hassan, you've been holding for a while. Sorry about that.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Go ahead.
Why are you women arguing over this small thing? I mean, Papa, you see, let me tell you one thing. Please, dress your children moderately. Let them be humble right from childhood. The way I see makeup, my definition of makeup is this. Makeups are for the people who could not make it. Because that is how it is. Even in America, you don't raise your children to class struggle. No. Raise your children to be confident. It is not about this makeup we are all looking around about.
Hassan, let me pause you. Hassan, let me pause. Let me engage you for a minute. So, when you say you raise your children, dress them moderately. Let's define moderation. So, for example, a young child grows up in Florida that doesn't snow, for example, and she's raised to wear a tank top and bomb shorts. Now, it's a normal thing because their weather is hot. Now, so this young girl, she's a full-figured, slightly full-figured, so she has all the bumps, but she's wearing a tank top and bomb shorts. It's not a big. Nobody looks at her sexually because it's in Florida.
culture.
It's a culture. Now, so you're Nigerian. She comes home to Nigeria and she's on holidays and she wears her t-shirt and her tank top and bomb shorts, and so because it's equally hot here. And suddenly we're saying, auntie, you can't dress like that. So, what therefore is moderation?
You see, when you talk of Florida, that's why it's conditional. It's conditional. Everybody does it over there. Look, even in UK and America, you see, the white likes you to be natural. They don't even like you speaking like them, their own intonation. They want you to speak like Nigerian, like a black man. If you speak like them, they see you as fake. That is the reality of it. And number 2, about this religion matter, the man from EFCC said about both Muslim and Christian in Nigeria, majority of us are hypocrites. They are hypocrites. What they say is different from what we do. So you just have to shine your eyes very well. Our Muslim brothers, our Christians, all of them, that is how we are. That is how we
Right. Thank you very much, Hassan.
So I want to go back. I want us to talk about what shapes our children. And it's shocking how much my 10-year-olds are learning from their peers in class. A lot. A lot. They have conversation. They want to be accepted in their class. And those conversations is influencing how they are asking questions and what their demands are at home. So they complain, but we're not the only ones that shape them. There's information being collected from different sources. And I don't think that as parents, we're spending enough time with the children to be able to drown out all the other ones that come in. So our parenting is a combination of you pray, you model, because they are watching you. So you need to be doing what you're saying so that it reinforces what you are saying. So you tell them, don't do this, but you also are doing what you say they should do. So that's modeling and saying reinforces, so it's like a double message. Then you also need to listen. And a lot of parents don't listen. We feel like we know it all, we have lived the life, and we should be able to tell them what to do. But after a while, they will stop listening to you. You need to learn, as parents, we need to listen to them. You know, we're talking right now about the world we're living is changing, and that's the reality. The world we're living has changed.
It has changed.
And our
Why
children
shouldn't you allow your little girl to paint her nails and to do her fixing? Because the world because she's not being judged by
based
that.
on those things
she's
anymore.
Being judged by the content of her character, right? So why don't we ever allow our kids to do whatever?
So you know that before our gadgets are like a no-no to parents, to our children.
Right.
But over time, our kids are born and they understand every gadget even more than us. There are parts of us that would evolve, and that's a norm. You cannot stop it.
Right.
But there are parts of us that is what makes us human. It's our character, it's our values, it's our sense of self. And those things, we must keep reiterating it. And I always tell children, you cannot ask my children that you cannot be like everybody. You cannot say because you want to be accepted that you will follow everybody's trend. You must be comfortable with being different.
Alaji has been holding for a while. Alaji Babatunde from Ikotun. Sorry for keeping you, sir. Good morning.
No problem, no problem. I also enjoy this subsequent conversation.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir.
Can I go on?
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Okay. All right. Thank you. Yeah, in fact, Doctor almost said what I wanted to contribute. He said that we should listen to them and try to. I'm talking about our children now, and try to adopt, let them know the environment. I'll share an experience with you, my lady, briefly. My uncle came to Christmas just before the COVID with our children, with their children. Then we went to Jebu for the Christmas. One of them, wore that thing you described. I don't know, some
tank top and bomb shots.
Yes. And then I didn't even notice. My wife and their mom went out just to go and see the town, and then before they came, I just had somebody our house to tell me that one of the lady was crying in her room. I said, what's this? So I went in. I said, what is the problem? He said, one of our relations that came around to greet us embarrassed her. I said, what happened? She was just crying. And I came out to meet that one. What happened? He said that she came out and was very busy. And then she said, how to be like?
Who's to be like?
So yes. So meaning that something strange, something very bad.
God forbid,
So I cautioned her and I had to go into appeal to her. And then when her mom came back, I told her that look, sometimes this is over there is normal, but when you are coming home, with them, try and tell them the environment and things like that. So that was just.
Thank you, Alaji Babatunde. So that's one of the clashes. So that's even easier to tell your child you're going to Nigeria now. Here you can't wear your bomb shots and everything. But how do we raise our kids to have that balance? Because sometimes I think Dr. I said sometimes that we just ship our children out, forgetting to help manage their mindsets, how they settle in, how they're accepted or not accepted, how they blend in, how they balance what they've been taught at home to what they're being taught in the new schools. These are some of those
questions. Nigerian boys to the beach, and they see people in bikini, and they're like staring.
And they're looking.
They've never seen somebody wear bikini before. They're just looking.
Yes.
People are wearing bikini everywhere.
And then they'll go, oh, really? I can wear bikini at the age of...
And it's okay to have that reaction because it's exposure that builds you.
Yeah.
So if you have lived in your Nigeria all your life, or if you've lived even in a particular place in Nigeria all your life, that's what you would know. That's why people who tend to move out of their comfort zone, have different kinds of relationships, different parts of the world, you just see that there's a different exposure and appreciation of other people's cultures. So you find someone who's been everywhere is not insisting on dressing the way they dress in your own vicinity. They recognize, okay, I'm here for this time, and it involves allowing children to see all that. But I feel that our children are quite exposed and are more aware because the difference is they have just a lot of information. There's TV, there's social media, there's just so much that they're learning. But I wanted to go to this part where we have not discussed, which is schools. what kind of school would you prefer for your child? Is it a school that insists on being conservative? There was a letter that was sent to us recently from my son's school, and he says that please, there was an event, but please don't dress your children in shorts, in see-through shirts, and, you know, some sort of hairstyles. I mean that, and I thought that they had to tell us. Mothers, they had to tell us, because there's just a new way that we're doing things. We are raising our children really to say, you know, it's the content of your character that matters. This does not really matter. But I feel that it's important to just allow them be children, have that basic, just have that basic thing where, you know, look a certain way, be conservative. Start off from that point of no makeup, no some sort of dressing, and then as you grow older, you make your choice.
We're going to break. When we come, we'll continue our conversation because there are still parents that I said, taking your kids on first class, you know, this is normal to them. You see, this is what we're talking about, are discussing. Some people, it's not a big deal. We are the ones that...
Somebody just bought a villa for somebody for 30th birthday.
It's like we're making it an issue because it seems against what we know. But there's a level you get to that your child coloring hair and doing nails, and it's not a big deal. We're still discussing these children we're raising into this new world, and if indeed our cultural practices, how it clashes with the new world they're being raised into. Yeah.
Okay, so I would just like to add that in all we do, let's raise our children to be good human beings.
Amen.
Let's raise them in love and family support.
Amen.
All the people I know who have gone astray and were able to came back because there was this strong family support. You know, like the scripture says, train up a child in the way he should go, and when he grows, he will not depart from it. Let's, in our own homes, set up those foundations, those ground rules that guides the family culture, because you don't know where they are going to. I have a daughter now who says she would likely marry an Asian. She loves, when she watches all those Korean movies, she loves them. So if peradventure she leaves the country, she may not want to marry a Nigerian. But what am I doing? I'm trying as much as possible to set her up in a system where she understands that no matter what, there's love for you here. This place is love, and you must be a good human being. You must be able to interact with people well, respect people, however it is. You will be all right. And just hope, because our scorecard never come out. We are parents now. We don't know how our children are doing. We're just hoping and praying and doing all that we can. But once we focus on ensuring that these children are raised in love, I think they'll find their way back.
I think it's a good way to wrap this topic up, because when you were talking, I remembered Dereli Edu. And Dereli is a special human being. He's different from the usual. And he's talked about how the kind of family support he had from his mom and dad and siblings, how without that support system, he probably would have, the society would have crumbled him. Society we live in here would have totally crushed him, because there were forces against his lifestyle, how he does things, everything. But he said it, and there was a post I saw, I think it was maybe recently, not so long ago, you know, where he was praising his family, his parents. So that family support, so when you raise your child to be a good person, regardless of whatever choices they make as they grow up, if you like color your hair yellow, come back and say that now you like this thing, you don't do this anymore. Because you have your family.
So regardless of your liberal morality or your conservative morality, as you said it yesterday.
Regardless of that, the fact that you have that baseline foundation from your family that is solid. So whatever choice, and you as a parent, you don't hurt yourself or beat yourself up because the child made these choices.
You have failed.
You've done the baseline. You've given the foundation. Whatever choices, therefore, they make.
But do you know that this guy is very, very intelligent,
Of course.
A soft-hearted, kind human being. If he walks into a place, no matter how gloomy you are, he will bring lights up the place.
And that's a gift.
But another thing is, parents, you need to be preparing yourself. That stage where you know that you cannot be the parent. You can only be an advisor.
Hallelujah.
You can decide not to follow what you have said. Yes, I have had, and you know, now as a parent, I feel for my mom and how my parents would have felt, because I've had conversations, they've had conversations with me as a young person, advising me, and I blatantly refused. I didn't do what they said. What they told me was a good decision. I regret not following them, but I cannot imagine how they would have felt. Like, gosh, I must have broken their hearts. And I'm looking at my 3 children and say, hey, Otokwe, Jesus is your strength, because you can hear you are today.
You learned from it.
Yes, I think we can wrap up with that. And listen, as we started off, I've shared my own story, how I was so dolled up as a child, and then I grew up hating fashion. I grew up hating all the attention. I just didn't want to. I wanted to be a tomboy. So sometimes we do so much to please these children, let's try not to go the extreme.
balance.
And find a balance and everything. Yes, they look pretty, but don't take it too much to the left. Always find a balance in raising them. No matter how wealthy
You are.
you are.
Don't put lashes on them. It takes away their natural lashes. I've been trying to groom mine. I don't wear lashes.
Okay, that's all we can take on